I love Chad Hogan live.
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 Chad Hogan.
Hello there! It is your friendly, nerdy neighborhood gamer, Chad Hogan, and today I will be your official Gamepass Cleaner. Now, what is a Gamepass Cleaner? Gamepass is a service on Xbox Live that allows you to download hundreds of titles, as many as you want, all at the same time if you want, for as little as $12.99 a month Canadian. And I have dubbed myself the official Xbox Gamepass Cleaner. So today, amongst the qualities of the kingdom, amongst the fallacies of my fantasy, I am going to be taking a look at two high-profile games that are a part of Xbox Game Pass's monumentary rental system. And these two games are going to be DMC by Capcom, aka Devil May Cry, and Gears of War 4, an often polarizing look at Microsoft's first take at being a first-party Gears of War. These two games represent everything Game Pass has to offer, from third-party offerings to first-party. The Game Pass deals are too good to pass up, no pun intended, but are the games?
DMC, or Devil May Cry, is a remake in a series that, admittedly, I'm not too familiar with, which makes me a perfect candidate for reviewing DMC on the Game Pass. I know that it was supposed to be a successor to Resident Evil at one point, and even supposed to be Resident Evil at one point, but it spawned into its own popular franchise. This is the remake, and since I've never played the other games, here we go. This game is pretty awesome, I gotta admit. There's the spoiler. I like Devil May Cry, or DMC. The graphics are pretty good. It reminds me of a Bayonetta-y type look. The gameplay reminds me of Ninja Gaiden. Remember Ninja Gaiden? Back when it was on the original Xbox? I guess there's a touch of Bayonetta in this game, seeing as how it is from Ninja Theory, but really, it's its own little masterpiece. DMC has the most B-movie storyline I've ever seen in a game. Capcom are the masters of this. From Resident Evil to Dead Rising to Devil May Cry. This game just feels like some sort of project by like an amateur movie crew, but a AAA release nonetheless. Not that the game is amateur, but the movie feels so cheesy. Sorry, the game's story, I even confused it with being a movie, just because of the acting, the dialogue, everything in between. It's fantastic. The main bad guy, who looks like Kingpin, is just absolutely hilarious in its diabolical nature. It becomes a fluid art. It becomes just the second degree, smooth as butter combat mastery that makes you feel like you're in the game, that you're just smashing away with your sword and then whipping your chains out and pulling the enemy towards you and then just doing another devastating combo, smashing that enemy away, pulling out your scyther and cutting up the next enemy and basically killing tons of enemies at the same time at once. And good players won't get hit doing it. I am not a good player. I got hit tons of times. This game goes on for about 20 or so levels, and you collect power-ups and, I guess, hearts, or some sort of token that you can use to level up your character by upgrading his stats. In true Capcom form, you can play this game in New Game Plus modes. The game does get harder, and you can continue the progression of your character. Super cool touch, I like that, but I just played through it once, beat the game on normal, and I gotta say, it's a pretty good addition to Game Pass. I suppose it's not as fun when I'm reviewing good games as it is when I'm reviewing bad ones, but damn it, I can't help it. I enjoy DMC. Master Chadworthy, we demand another Game Pass review.
Would you kindly stop telling me what to do, please? Don't you hate it when your machines talk to you? It drives you mad. You want another review? I promise you Gears of War 4. This is a game that was made internally by Microsoft's first-party studios, and it's certainly, well, it's actually pretty much the same as the other Gears of Wars. I was gonna say it's different, but they played it safe with this one. Still, with Gears 5 on the horizon, and yes, they're calling it Gears 5 and not Gears of War 5. With Gears 5 on the horizon, I thought it was a pretty cool time to take a look at a game that I hadn't yet gotten to try. This is Microsoft's probably second last masterpiece as a first-party title on the Xbox One, next to Forza Horizon, before they just gave up making games, supposedly. So let's take a look at one of the last first-party Xbox One titles.
When I review games on the Game Pass, I'm not necessarily looking at a 1 to 10 review scale like most reviews are, because you can get those anywhere. I'm trying to evolve my reviews to see if these games are worthwhile for your time on Game Pass, and like Devil May Cry, I'm happy to say this is a good Game Pass review. I am cleaning a good Game Pass this week because I discovered Gears of War 4. I missed out on it when it came out at launch, but thanks to the wonders of a subscription to Game Pass, I can play Gears of War 4 infinitely for free as much as I want. But do I want to? Do you want to? Well, first and foremost, the value in this first-party Microsoft title is hefty. You get online, you get a single-player campaign, you have co-op, there's horde mode, you get a little bit of everything you expect from Gears of War.
We'll be right beside you.
However, many reviews pointed out that this game feels a little familiar and a little tired, and it does. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because if you change the formula, people get mad. But if you stick with the same old, well, people get mad. So if you're gonna piss people off, you might as well stay somewhere safe. And Gears of War 4 pretty much plays it safe. The story's probably my favorite part. Not to say that the gameplay isn't, but you do see some old faces, you're introduced to a lot of new faces, and I kind of have an idea where they're going forward with in the future.
Then call me a chaperone. How about I call you hungover? Oh, you got some chuff, boy, don't you?
Uncle, you're obviously hungover.
Actually, I'm still a little drunk.
At the beginning of the game, spoiler alert, you're fighting like Robocops, like these robots that drop from a ship in balls and then transform into robots. I thought that was pretty cool. And then later on in the game when you're fighting the Horde, you're kind of fighting both at some point, and I just thought that was cool. The robots are really cool.
Citizen, you are not authorized. No citizens here.
And if you're like me, just kind of a casual observer, you've maybe beaten a couple of them, but you're not super into the franchise, I would recommend giving it a look on Game Pass. If only for the hefty value that you get with all the different game modes, there's bound to be some achievements here for you, and I'm sure you're gonna enjoy a couple games online at the very least. If you merely have a cup of coffee with Gears of War, there's still something to be had here for everyone. But Microsoft definitely needs to think of some new ideas going forward in the future. But as it stands in the present, Gears 4 is a fine addition to the Xbox Game Pass. My plunger wasn't necessary for this one.
Enemy spotted!
Two good Game Pass games in one review? That deserves a fresh batch of cookies, Xbox. You get Cookie of the Month, because I actually had some fun. If you recall my last video, I reviewed PUBG, which was pretty good, and Grip, which was pretty not so good. So I'm quite pleased with my selection. If you were not to buy any games, ignore Red Dead Redemption 2 and Call of Duty and Fallout, and you were only to purchase Game Pass, and just say you were only to play Gears of War 4 and DMC, and you've never played them before, like myself, well, that deserves a cookie.